Howdy folks, it's Chris here with Zone Zero California, and for this video we are near the corner of Broadway and Griffin in Lincoln Heights. And yes, this is where the very high fire hazard severity zone begins for the Lincoln Heights neighborhood. So of course we're here to raise awareness and take viewers such as yourself on the ground here into the neighborhoods to show you exactly where these very high fire hazard severity zones are in Los Angeles. And of course we're going to take a drive around the neighborhood to show you just how many people and homes these Zone Zero regulations are going to affect, and point out some areas of concern, just highlighting how much work will need to be done once these regulations come into full effect. Now, it's March 1st. We are expecting the final guidelines from the state to be published, and we do also expect that local counties and cities will have their own sets of rules, guidelines, and regulations, because having a one-size-fits-all approach coming top-down from the state level, that was part of a lot of the feedback and pushback coming from citizens during this regulatory process. So, all right, so what is Zone Zero? Zone Zero is the 0 to 5 feet around any home, property, or structure. And the new regulations will mean that all new buildings in very high fire hazard severity zones must use Class A non-combustible materials for anything in Zone Zero. So what does that include? Your roofing, your siding, your fences, your gates, and your decks, and your landscaping. Those are the main areas of concern when it comes to Zone Zero and combustible material. So now what about all the millions of existing homes and properties in these very high fire hazard severity zones? Well, you're going to have 2 to 3 years to become compliant. So we want to raise awareness now. We want people prepared and not scared. And of course, the sooner you do take these improvements into your own hands, the more protected you're going to be when that inevitable next fire season does come. So the reason why these Zone Zero regulations are the way they are is because what scientists have found over the last decade of research after numerous large-scale fires with widespread destruction is that it's not so much the wall of fire or the radiant heat from these fires that causes these fires to spread. It's the embers that get picked up and blown sometimes miles away that land on other properties, in trees, on gardens, on decks, on old wood fences, that then cause new fires to start. And with those high winds, those fires spread, right? So, what else can we say here? Yeah, we're going to take a drive around like we always do. Let's talk about just what kind of implementation of Zone Zero regulations would look like, right? So let's say you've got dry grass in your yard, right? Maybe you might need to replace the first 5 feet around your home with gravel. What else? Replacing your old wood fences and gates. That's a big one. I know we're going to drive around this neighborhood and find a bunch of old wood fences and gates, because in all the other videos we've done, it's been the exact same story. So now, let's talk a little bit about specifically the type of wood. Redwood and cedar most likely are going to need to be replaced, but there are hardwoods approved by CAL FIRE for use in Zone Zero, namely Caillou Batu. I've seen that approval report myself. And so it's not about getting completely away from wood, it's just being aware of what types and kinds of wood will be allowed. So we mentioned decks as well. Now decks, you've got composite material like Trex or TimberTech that can probably be swapped out for old redwood or cedar boards, or of course, you can use hardwoods for your deck as well. Now patios, that's something I've noticed too. There are a lot of apartments that have wood railings on their patios. So, and most likely it's redwood. So those are going to need to be replaced. Again, it doesn't have to be all metal, but it just needs to be Class A non-combustible material. And so, after that, it's your siding. Now, siding can be a major undertaking. It depends on the time period in which your home was built. Certain time periods and certain styles call for certain materials. So like if you have a craftsman, for example, we were in Echo Park and Silver Lake earlier, a lot of craftsmen in that neighborhood. That's all old wood siding. When we were in the valley, let's see, we were in places like Thousand Oaks or Agora Hills. We saw a lot of homes that appeared to have wood siding still. So, yeah, those are the things. And of course your roofing. Now, I don't know much about roofing, but I'm willing to bet that most roofing material at this point in time is probably already like non-combustible. designed to withstand heat, designed to withstand fire, designed to not catch fire. But again, you might need to be clear about your landscaping, because if you have a tree dropping old leaves on your roof and you don't clear those leaves off of your roof, the next time a firestorm happens and the embers come and land on your roof, well, if there's enough combustible material on there, that's going to be a problem. So once again, my name's Chris. Okay, I got a couple of resources for you. We have a free school community. Put the link in the description. Come join the conversation there. I've also compiled a lot of resources and information in one place there. I've started a Reddit community as well. Again, I want people to share their stories. In fact, if you want to share your stories, maybe you've already been through hell and back dealing with insurance or dealing with state regulators already, and you want to get it off your chest, feel free to put it in the comments or join us on School or join us on Reddit, because sharing your story, if it gets it off your chest, that helps you and it will help other people to learn about what you've gone through. So, and if you need to be put in touch with contractors in your local area, go to zonezerocalifornia.com. Give me a call there or fill out the form on the website and we'll put you in touch with licensed contractors near you. So thanks, my name's Chris. Let's take a drive around Lincoln Heights and see what their very high fire hazard severity zone looks like. All right, ladies and gentlemen, back in the car. So let me take a look at my map again here real quick before we start driving around, so we can kind of trace the outline of where this fire hazard severity zone kind of begins here in Lincoln Heights. So I got to bring up my CAL FIRE map right here, CAL FIRE. All right, so I'm on Broadway and Griffin. So it kind of goes south from Broadway. Like Broadway is right in the, like this is like the very edge. It goes south down to let's see here, Mission Road. So if you're on Mission Road, you're into the severity zone, and it extends all the way kind of on the edge here to Valley Boulevard. So let's take a little drive across Lincoln Heights, go into some neighborhoods and point out some zone 0 type of concerns. So we're going to drive down Broadway to Mission Road and then kind of loop around. So let's just take a drive. All right, so turning down Broadway here. Okay, so now remember, this is all of this is in the very middle of very high fire hazard severity zone, and it does go I guess southwest a bit. You can see those are some neighborhoods there. So let's maybe take a turn here. Let me turn down Hancock Street and just drive around a block or two and see if we can point out the types of zone 0 concerns. Now here's a craftsman style home, probably all wood siding right there. Okay, a lot of wrought iron in this neighborhood. That's good as far as the fences and gates. Oh, there's a deck with the wood railings. There's another craftsman here. There's a wood fence, and here's another craftsman. So that's all wood siding. Okay, so again, this is all a very high fire hazard severity zone. So if you live in Lincoln Heights here and you're in these neighborhoods, this zone 0 will affect you. And you know, that's why I'm making these videos and putting this word out there now to raise awareness. Here's a couple more craftsmen. You know, that's all wood siding. All wood siding. There's a wood fence between those two properties. We'll keep driving straight here through the neighborhood instead of going back. Here's another craftsman style home. Wood siding. Wood siding. Now here's a modernized one, but that's probably all redwood. More craftsmen. So a lot of craftsmen in this neighborhood too. Here you go, you got a wood fence here. Now that looks like a modified craftsman where they've replaced it with stucco siding. But of course, then you don't really get the look. Like here's another one that's more of a classic craftsman. That type of horizontal siding is what gives it its look and its distinct style, you know? Sorry, let me turn that off. You've got a school here, middle of a severity zone. There's more craftsmen, a bunch of craftsmen here. again, a lot of these homes have been modernized. Looks like they've gone to stucco. There's a wood fence. Well, it's kind of a hybrid. More craftsmen here, right? So these are all homes that might need new siding, or you know, I guess one option is obviously replace it with stucco. So, but then, you know, you lose that historic style, you lose that historic architecture, right? And like, not to mention just the cost, right? So, but do we want to be safe from fires? That's the question, right? That is the question. Okay, so this is Lincoln Park Avenue. I'm gonna drive to the right here, which should take us in a southward direction. Now you can tell the houses behind me are on a hill, and in general, Lincoln Heights gets its name for being at a higher elevation than, let's say, downtown Los Angeles. So again, I kind of reinforces the point that a lot of these fire hazard severity zones are essentially overlapping with changes in elevations. So if you live in a part of Los Angeles that's, you know, in the hills, on a hill, chances are you are in a very high fire hazard severity zone. So okay, so now we're at Mission. Let me pull over and take a look at my map. I'm going to cut the video. Okay, I'm back. So we're going to turn down Mission here. This is kind of going south, southwest, towards the downtown direction, and then we're going to turn on Baldwin, because this, I'm essentially driving down the outline of where these fire hazard severity zones are. So all of these homes right here, looks like they all have wood siding. Those are all in a very high fire hazard severity zone. So this represents sort of like the edge, or the border of where the severity zone kind of extends to in this area. I think this is Cal State over here to my left through the window. Again, more neighborhood down there, right? So this is all in the red, mind you. All of these homes, all of these buildings, all these apartments you're looking at, these are all in the red, in the very high fire hazard severity zone. Okay, and the 5 freeway is just up here. So did I miss my turn? Let me check my map here. I might have missed my turn. So I want to kind of traverse the breadth of this Lincoln Heights severity zone and go north and show you just how wide it kind of goes on this video, because it's a mixed area, right? This close to downtown. So yeah, USC Health Sciences campus is over here. Okay, so actually let me kind of pull over, because I want to see if these buildings, this USC campus, actually is in the severity zone. So let's check it out real quick. The part that sucks is every time I switch out of the CAL FIRE map as it resets, just to kind of show you guys what I'm looking at here, right? So this is like the CAL FIRE map. Of course, it's on my phone, so it's kind of weird, but we're in this neighborhood here, and I think the reception isn't great. Oh, the reception's not great, so it's not reloading quickly. Okay, so let's zoom out. Okay, it finally loaded. So as you can see, we are down here. So these buildings are just outside of the zone. So I'm gonna actually turn around, go back up Mission, and look for Valley Boulevard. So everything north of Valley Boulevard is where you can see the fire hazard zone begins. And it's really just a couple of blocks of yellow and orange, and then it's like fully red. So let me zoom out. You can see it's the whole neighborhood. So, oh, Cal State University is on the edge there, just on the edge. So let's see here. What we're looking for? Valley Boulevard. Let's go back and find Valley Boulevard. So let me make sure it's safe to turn around. Yep, nobody's coming. All right, so we're gonna go back to Mission and go up to Valley Boulevard. Turn right on Valley Boulevard. And if you live in this neighborhood, or you're familiar with this neighborhood, Valley Boulevard kind of represents the southernmost beginning, the edge of this very high fire hazard severity zone for this area, for this Lincoln Heights neighborhood and adjoining neighborhoods. So I did go a little too far. That was Griffin. We're on Mission now, so we're gonna kind of head back up over this bridge. Now look at all these palm trees, right? So you know, if those catch fire and drop embers onto that top of that building over there. Okay, Valley Boulevard to the right here. I don't want to miss this. Okay, so yeah, and we're right next to the train tracks here with this Valley Boulevard. So Valley Boulevard is going to be your landmark for this Lincoln Heights area. So now notice there's a nice little park right here too, you know. This camera's getting a little hot, so but nevertheless we'll persevere. Okay, so lots of open space over here, but you know, right behind this park is where your neighborhood begins, right? And then you've got, of course, this park with the lake, and so now that's a brick structure over there. But again, if embers blow and land in these trees will start you know, dropping fire down on whatever's underneath them. So you've got a baseball field here. So Valley Boulevard looks like it extends here for about a mile or so. So again, this represents like the southern edge of this fire hazard severity zone. This is where the fire hazard severity zone begins for this area. Okay, so now here's Soto. So there's another good landmark for you. So if you live off Soto, north of Valley, that's everything, all that neighborhood, everything up there, that's going to be a fire hazard severity zone. So this looks like a park and ride, but again, behind it, what do you have? You got homes, right? And I know it may be hard to tell from the GoPro camera, but you can see how there's rolling hills behind the homes. Again, just kind of reinforcing the fact that the fire hazard severity zones have a lot to do with your elevation. So if you're in the hills, on a hill, chances are... Now what is this? This is a Buddhist temple. Interesting. Very cool. And now we've got a neighborhood, right? So this whole neighborhood is all considered very high fire hazard severity zone here. Again, we're still on Valley Boulevard. We're headed east northeast, and essentially, you know, that fire hazard severity zone map kind of follows the topography, right? So as this kind of curves around to the more northeastern direction, again, everything up on these hills is going to be fire hazard severity zones, meaning zone 0 will apply to all of these homes, all of these properties, all of these structures. Okay, as you can see here now, we're coming into a bit of a valley, right? We're flanked to the right and to the left by some hillsides. So I'd like to pull over here and just take another look at our map. Sunday morning, it's nice that there's not a lot of traffic for me to do this here. So let me pull over here. Let's take a look at our map. Turn that off. Okay. Let me just get the map out here. See, it's got to load again. So we'll have to zoom in. So I'm near Alhambra Ave and Valley Boulevard. So let's see if we can find that on our map here. So see, we're kind of on this edge of this area. So the Alhambra, so this western edge of Alhambra is where this kind of begins here. So let's see, we're looking for Alhambra Ave and Valley, where it kind of forks. So where's Valley? Let's see, we were on Valley Boulevard. I think this is Valley Boulevard right here. No, that's not it. Where's Valley? Where's our Valley? We were on Mission. We turned left onto... Where are we? Oh, we're down here. We're on this... Yeah, see, so Valley Boulevard, right there. So, zoom in. Valley Boulevard. Okay, so this is where Valley Boulevard forks and goes towards Alhambra. So as you can see, there's a junction up there. That's essentially right here where Valley Boulevard forks left to Alhambra. So Alhambra Ave is in the red, while Valley Boulevard remains in the yellow here. So let's kind of just keep driving. We're gonna take Alhambra and we'll go explore some of those neighborhoods over there. So usually what I do to figure out like which if this is still considered Lincoln Heights or not is I'll go over here to my other map right, and just kind of zoom out and see. Okay, Alrant, all right, is the name of this. We also have Omaha Heights, Ascot Hills, so Lincoln Park's down there, right? So this is essentially the part of California we're at right here. We're about to drive to next. So we've bled over from you know, Lincoln Heights over here. We've traveled east and now we're over here. But if I go back here, you can see if you're in Rose Hill, if you're in El Sereno, if you're in Monterey Hills, all of that is red. Highland Park, right? Let's go back to our Cal Fire map, right? Look, right? Pinch out and zoom here. That's all this area here. All of those neighborhoods. So that's a little bit of a part two, I guess. We can extend this and include those other neighborhoods, just because I'd like people to be able to find the video based on their neighborhood. So there you go. So we're gonna drive around and continue this video over here off Alhambra Ave. And let's see here, we are in the Omaha Heights, Rose Hill, Lincoln Park, and Monterey Hills neighborhoods of Los Angeles. All right, so let's keep driving and just kind of explore. We're gonna go off Alhambra and just go into the neighborhood and point out, see if we can find any kind of zone 0 areas of concern with just by going randomly into these neighborhoods and seeing what kind of buildings these homes are made of. So all right, so did I turn too early? I'm on Eastern Ave. Well, certainly I'm one street west of Alhambra. So yeah. Oh, that's a dead end. I don't want to go down there. But I mean, again, all the homes off this street, this is all going to be considered very high fire hazard severity zone. So already I can see this is a wood fence around this home. Wood fence, right? Okay, a lot of wrought iron and stuff. Oh, but look at this home. This is another home with a wood fence, right? Let me get off the major street here so I don't slow anybody up. This home looks like it's got a driveway gate with wood. Okay, not a lot of oh, spoke too soon. There's a wood fence right there. I was gonna say a lot of oh, another one. So there's a setback in this neighborhood. You notice how there's not a lot of fences that go all the way to the sidewalk, but once you get past the setback, there's a lot of these homes that have wood gates further up the driveway, closer to the home. So oh, there's some wood siding on that house. And again, here you can see there's a hill to this side. So I think I got lots of footage here, so I'll figure out how to put these on YouTube in a way. Oh, there's another one. There's another one. Wood. I'll put these on YouTube in a way where I can kind of help identify some of these more specific neighborhoods, guys. But once again, my name's Chris. Hope you found this informative. Oh, this camera's getting really hot. Go to zone0california.com. Reach out to me there and I'll put you in touch with local contractors, licensed contractors in your area. Thank you.